Hey guys, my name is McGann, and I am, the narcissist whisperer. I am not a doctor, I'm not any kind of mental health professional. Please do not take my advice as anything but anecdotal. But today I want to explain hoovering and what exactly that is. So narcissists tend to have this love cycle that they put their victims through. And really, I mean, it's more like a cycle of abuse. And at first, when the narcissist is trying to suck you into their life, they idealize you. So you are perfect, you're on a pedestal, you can do no wrong. Then once you start to get comfortable in the relationship and you're really trusting that person, they will start to devalue you, where suddenly nothing you can do is right anymore. You know, devaluing you is designed to put you in your place, which is always behind the narcissist because you've either become boring or you're full of problems, but overall you're not really worth their time anymore and you're starting to feel it. So maybe you start doing more and more trying to get the narcissist to idealize you again, and it doesn't work. Once the narcissist kind of gets bored and he's taken all he can take out of you, then he will discard you, which is where you're trash. You were never anything to him in the first place. And I do say him because I date men, but women can be narcissists too. However, it is really rare for a narcissist to discard you and let you have any kind of closure. So they will break up with you, and it might be completely out of the blue where you just come online one day and you've been blocked. Or at best, they might send you a line that's like, "This isn't working, peace out." And then here you are, somebody who felt completely in love and in the middle of a relationship, and suddenly that wall goes down and you can't even contact this person to say, "What the heck happened?" But the narcissist doesn't want to tell you what happened because a lot of times there is no answer. They got bored, they met somebody else, the sky was blue, it really doesn't matter. They don't care enough about you as an individual person to let you have closure. And that can make a lot of people start to feel obsessed in the aftermath with that relationship because they didn't expect it to end like that. I mean, even if it wasn't some grand romance, most relationships do not just end at the drop of a hat. There is a buildup, there's an argument, there is something to where both sides understand that, yeah, we're not moving forward. It's not just one person going, "Hey, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Bye." And unfortunately, when that happens, a lot of people internalize it and they think, "What did I do wrong? How did I cause this? Where did I mess up?" And they don't look at the actual situation, which is, "Man, that dude is crazy. Whew, I dodged a bullet." Instead, it kind of ends up being like getting a song stuck in your head, you know, where you just have the same 2 or 3 lines going through your head over and over again, and it's making you nuts, and nothing you do is getting that song out of your head. That's basically what happens when you get abruptly discarded by a narcissist. You've got a few good lines that he or she told you that are stuck in your head, and they're on repeat. The "I love you, you're perfect, you're my everything, oh baby, we're gonna have this beautiful life together, oh our children, oh this, oh that." And that's what ends up stuck in a loop in your brain, and you're just sitting there going like, "I don't understand why he left me." So your brain is fixating on it because you don't have that closure. Except, you know, when a song gets stuck in your head, you can usually fix that by looking up the song and playing it. And your brain's like, "Okay, that's what I needed to hear. I'm good now. We can move on and not think about these same 3 lines forever." However, the narcissist cuts you off cold turkey and they're going to block you. They're going to refuse to answer your calls. So you can't allow your brain to process in the way that it needs to. And that can end up making somebody feel obsessed or addicted, or like the dog turd that they picked up is actually a Prince Charming. So even if you have been seeing a bunch of red flags in your relationship and you're about to up and leave the narcissist on your own accord, suddenly having the table flipped and having that control taken from you can really do a number on your mindset. So why do narcissists do this? Why do they break up with you seemingly out of the blue and just refuse to give you the closure you need to be done? Well, because of hoovering. Hoovering is like the 4th part of that narcissistic abusive love cycle. So it's really idealize, devalue, discard, and then hoover them right back up. And then again, they idealize, devalue, discard. Hoovering is literally a term named after the brand of vacuum cleaner because that's essentially what the narcissist is doing. They throw you away, they really hurt you. Then when you have something else to offer or their other narcissistic supply is running low, they come to hoover you back up and take what they can from you again. Hoovering is pretty much the precursor to the idealization phase starting all over again, except when a narcissist is hoovering, they are going to uncharacteristically accept blame and be apologetic and basically do or say whatever they have to do to get you back into their clutches. So you'll hear, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Leaving you was the biggest mistake of my life. I would give anything for a second chance with you. I regret my actions so much. I wasn't on my meds. I know I've caused you so much pain and I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I really wish I could get it." It's all fake. If you do decide to entertain listening to those crocodile apologies, it's not a judgment, believe me, I've been there too. Force things to go very slowly after that. Because the narcissist is going to want to suck you back into their vortex and put you right back on the roller coaster where you were before. But you just sit back and watch how many promises they make to you when they're trying to hoover you and idealize you. And then just wait and see how many things they actually follow through and deliver on. It's going to be next to zero. Because narcissists love to write checks with their mouth that their butt can't cash. And at this point, if you have already been discarded by a narcissist, then you've already seen behind their mask and they hate that. So a narcissist's patience to get you back on the hook with them is usually pretty paper thin. Which means if you say, "Okay, I accept your apology," and "Oh baby, you're my whole world, I love you too," and you're not back in that mentality instantly, you are going to see the devalue and discard cycle speed up a lot faster than it was going before. And even if your narcissist makes you promises like, "Oh baby, we'll go to therapy and I'll get better, I promise," keep in mind that narcissism tends to be extremely resistant to therapy. So it is highly likely that nothing is ever going to change in your relationship. You know, the narcissist truly doesn't think that they've done anything wrong, so they go into the therapist and they spin a story about how they're the victim and how everybody's treating them badly. And because the therapist isn't getting true and accurate information, they can't really help a narcissist change anything. Not that you can force somebody to change if they don't want to. I mean, take it from me, my husband is going to individual and couples counseling, and when he goes into the one-on-one appointments by himself with the therapist, he lies about everything. And so the therapist will tell him how he's such a victim and I'm so cruel to him and he should be allowed to have a bunch of guns because, you know, my husband doesn't tell him that he takes those guns and waves them in my face and threatens me. He says, "Well, your wife shouldn't be able to tell you what you can do as a grown man." Like, yeah, but maybe if he wasn't crazy, I wouldn't have to. So the narcissist man who has been cheating on me and abusing me mentally, physically, emotionally, you name it, for over a decade is the victim, according to the therapist, or at least what he says the therapist tells him. And when we go to see the couples therapist, I'm in there. So my husband can't spin a whole different story to make himself sound like some poor little baby. And so instead, he comes out of couples counseling saying how it's worthless because the therapist and I just gang up on him. And he says the therapist is being mean to him because she will look at him and say things like, "Do you not understand how your behavior impacts your wife? And why do you feel the need to go outside of your marriage when you're not getting your way?" Literally, just asking my husband why he feels entitled to do whatever he wants with whoever he wants is considered attacking him in his book. And his answers are always things like, "Well, I was never planning on getting caught, so why would I need to consider what my wife's feelings would be? She wasn't supposed to know." Really? You're the victim for getting caught? Oh, and I'm also not allowed to talk about anything that might upset him about his affairs when we're outside of couples counseling, because that 1 hour a month is supposed to be all I get and all I need and all I deserve to resolve this issue. He says that's the only hour a month that he will be victimized. And if you're curious, I do have a whole storytime video about breaking up with my husband's girlfriend, and that goes into more detail as to why I have not been able to leave him yet. But oh, sweet babies, believe me, I'm working on it. But long story short, There is no saving a narcissist that doesn't want to be saved. And the vast majority of them don't see anything wrong with the way they behave. So whoever you are getting in the relationship during the bad times, that's really them. And that's all they're ever going to be. They're not going to get better. The guy they are when they're idealizing you doesn't last for very long because he's fake. He's not real. He's never going to be around long term. At best, he's a party trick so that you don't leave. So if you really, 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 for some reason, decide that you have to stay with a narcissistic person, you have to accept that the love bombing times are fake and manipulative. And you are never going to stop being devalued and discarded because that's just who they are. And keep in mind, discarded does not always mean that they break up with you. My husband has never broken up with me. Discarded can also mean that he ignores you, cheats on you, constantly punishes you because he sees you as a person as disposable. If you are not serving his needs, you have no purpose. Yet the minute you're actually ready to leave, suddenly you're his entire world and he can't live without you. That's hoovering, basically. And sometimes our brains get so messed up over these relationships that we will be out and free, but so emotionally addicted to that narcissist that we hoover ourselves back up. There are narcissists out there, the greater narcissist especially, who they are self-aware enough of what they're doing and how that affects people that they won't directly show up to hoover you, but they will leave the door open for you to contact them. Or maybe if they're impatient, they might drop you some little hints like, hey, I'm liking your Facebook posts, even though we're not friends on Facebook. Or they may text you something randomly and act like, oh, that was an accident, or oh, my dog jumped on the phone, or my kid got my phone. And they do that to see if you will respond. And if you do respond, they can play it off like an accident. And if you don't respond, then they're like, well, I didn't really try, so I didn't really lose. And if you do respond to them with an open mind and heart, you end up hearing the narcissist out, and that ends up sucking you back into all of the drama. So because you take that bait and leave the first decent response, you hoover yourself right back into their trap. The good news, though, is that you can stop the hoovering. All you have to do is not play into it anymore. Block their number, block their email, block them on Facebook and Instagram, change your phone number if you need to. You can choose to make it to where a person has nearly an impossible time getting a hold of you. It can be hard, especially if you never really got enough closure or you've ever been emotionally addicted to that person. So nobody can make up your mind for you that you have to block this person. It's something that you have to come to on your own terms. But you can decide when you've had enough and set boundaries and be prepared to either lose that narcissist completely from your life or see a massive tantrum occur where they will throw every dirty and sweet trick in the book at you. So it will go from, oh, I hate you, you're this horrible person, I can't believe you do this to me, to, oh, sweetie, I love you so much, I love you, you're the love of my love, my whole life, oh, my whole world. So you're either their trash or their treasure and really never anywhere healthy in between. And you have to not only be prepared to hear it, but to have a cold heart about it. If you go gray rock, which is where you just kind of harden your heart and you really try to be boring to the narcissist, not giving them any positive or negative attention at all, just if you have to talk to them, very short answers. Yep, sure, no problem, almost like you're put out to be in the conversation with them. Then the narcissist tends to get bored with you and move on after a while. I mean, it is really hard to vacuum up a boulder after all, so they're not going to hoover somebody who's just not going to budge. And the narcissist has to feed their ego constantly, so they're going to run off and play emotional vampire to somebody who's going to be receptive to it. So if you go gray rock and you're not interesting and you're not feeding into their drama anymore and not letting yourself be hoovered back up anymore, the cycle will end. And yes, it can still hurt you, but it will be over and you can heal and get healthy. So please remember, always do what's best for yourself first, because the narcissist is always going to do what's best for themselves first. Take care of yourselves. I believe in you. You can make a difference and be the change in your life and be your own hero. You got this, guys and girls.